is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. JLee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, JLee.
All right, and I am back yet again at the 2024 Cleveland National Podcast Studio, presented by TikTok Shop. And this time, I am joined by, I say this every time, but another one of my good friends. This guy's not only a good friend of mine, but when we see each other, there's no option except to have a big bro hug. To bro hugs. Huge bear hug. Huge bear bro hug. Guys, this is Andy Albert from the Indy Card Exchange.
Yes, sir.
Andy, I wanted to invite you into the studio here today towards the end of the day here on Saturday because you've been setting up the National now. I mean, I don't know how long.
So as an exhibitor, 8 years straight, and I've been coming to Nationals since I was 13 years old.
8 years straight, and I met you for the first time. I remember coming by your booth. It's probably the 2019 National in Chicago.
Yeah, it was.
I came by your booth. You had some great cards, and I just remember the feeling I had when I was browsing your showcases, when I was interacting with you and your guys, Jake in particular. I just remember, not every vendor is so friendly. Not every vendor doesn't care if you spend money at their booth. But these guys were so friendly. They made me feel so at home, so comfortable. I did buy a card or two from you, but there's one I didn't buy that I wish that I would have, and it was a Michael Jordan. I think it was the horizontal flare, like a row zero.
Yeah.
Numbered out of 100 or 250. 250.
Yeah.
Could have bought it off you for $900. Now it's probably $9,000. But hey, we all have those stories. But Andy, right. Here we are 5 years later. I've seen you at every National, and it's always such a pleasure to see you. So I wanted to just say, yeah, man. I mean, I wanted to get your perspective on the National, progressing from 2019 through till now. What have your thoughts been so far? How is this National in Cleveland?
I mean, I cannot believe the traffic. I can't believe the crowds. I can't believe the interest in everything that we have out on our tables and our display cases. I mean, from the second we set up on Tuesday, Jeremy, which was not even a sales day, we did $40,000 on Tuesday. And that's what I mean. Like, I cannot believe just how many people are so interested. It feels like, and I know you know this, the 2021 National, where I always say everybody went home with COVID. I mean, that National was where there were 3 people deep at every booth looking over each other's shoulders like we were like zoo animals. It was unbelievable. Yeah. And this feels just like it. I mean, it's got a more positive vibe, in my opinion, because unfortunately everybody was in the investor mindset in 2021. In 2024, we've got a collector mindset. We've got a breaker mindset, a repack mindset, which I think those are a lot healthier things for the hobby compared to the investor mindset. Because I always laugh and say this too. Cards were selling for 3 times the value with only a third of the people. Now we have 3 times the cards, 3 times the people with a third of the value. So I think it's a very healthy National. I think it's a very healthy community right now, and I can definitely see it continue to grow healthily from this point on.
Yeah, I had Adam Gray in here with me earlier today, and I said the same thing to him, which is that the hobby, the cards have come down in value since the peak, the COVID peak, the pandemic peak, but that just makes them more affordable to so many more people. Yeah. And like you said, I'm walking through these aisles today, and I can't just look in any showcase like I could have 10 years ago here in Cleveland.
Correct.
Now I need to wait. Look, I'm tall. I can see over
there you
people,
go, yeah.
right? But it's feels like it's right back to where it was in 2021. It was 2020 that was canceled. In 2021,
right?
And it's just, you mentioned you did 40,000 in sales on Tuesday alone. how would that compare to what you did on the Tuesday last year or the year before, if you can remember?
No, I mean, we always do a little bit of sales on Tuesday because there's a lot of dealer-to-dealer sales and interactions, but nothing compared to that. Maybe a fourth of that if we're lucky. And just to have that many people like even run up. I mean, we set up at 2:30 p.m. and you had to be out of the building by 4:30 p.m. 4:30, that's 2 hours of being open with our cards and our display cases, and we did that much in business. To me, it just blows me away. And you know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I think we're one of those that we came to the National with the intention of selling, not to be a museum. And we actually priced our cards fairly. And I feel very comfortable that we priced our cards to a point that people are willing to come back. People said, hey, Indy Card Exchange has their cards priced fairly. That makes me feel good because we're not a museum here. We're here to sell cards.
Are you finding that the attendees are here to do business? And by that I mean they see a card, they're buying it. The reason I ask is because I heard a comment from another vendor a couple days ago who said to me, this guy was, I've seen him at every national, he sets up consistently, and he said to me, you know, this is unbelievable. He said, people are just coming up, they're doing business, they're not even negotiating in some cases. Now I'm talking about, you know, rare cards that you just can't find, either you know, rare high-grade vintage or rare serial number stuff. But he said that, for example, he told me I had a PSA 80 Peachy Wayne Gretzky rookie here. I had it priced at $17,000. Guy gave me $16,000 for it, and he said I almost wanted to help him negotiate. I'm like, that's nice of you. That is a price that is over what I've been seeing, but. Are you finding people are coming up to your booth and just want to get the deal done?
The unique stuff, I have the same exact example, just a different card. I had an Anthony Edwards Cracked Ice Auto Rookie, BGS 9510. The last sale sold for $10,500 a couple months ago, and I had it priced very high because I am a massive believer in Anthony Edwards' future. I had it priced at 15 grand. I'll admit, like I was severely overpriced, so you know, shoot me for doing that. But I'm telling you right now, I had a couple Asian guys that were interested in it, and I said, guys, I don't really want to sell it because there's no other ones that are out in the marketplace, and they bought it for $13,500. Like, if they want the card and they believe in the card and the card's future, they're going to buy it, right?
Now, did these guys travel from Asia?
Yes.
To here?
Yes.
To buy cards and be here at the show.
Yeah, they were from China. They were actually from China, flew in to Chicago, and then over to Cleveland.
Yeah, isn't that cool? I met a guy from Indonesia earlier today. I was looking at some Shaquille O'Neal cards. There's a huge Shaq collection just over that away, everybody. Yeah. And the guy he comes up, he goes, do you collect Shaquille O'Neal? And I said, yeah, I have some. And he looks at me, he goes, I know you, I watch your videos. Very cool, very cool.
Well, I was just going to say, I know a guy from Canada.
Yeah. And I know a guy from Indianapolis.
Yes, yeah.
Where is your store exactly?
So we're on the north side of Indianapolis. Indianapolis is basically one big donut interstate around the city itself, and we're on the far northeast side of Indianapolis. So literally you cross the street and you're into the suburbs of Indianapolis.
Okay.
But we technically have an Indianapolis address.
When you come to this show, and I mean, you're not that far from home, relatively speaking.
5 hours.
Are you here looking to pick up cards that you know that you can sell back in the shop?
100%. We already have filled 2 shoe boxes full of stuff that we plan to take back to the shop.
And is it stuff that you're picking up for customers that you know will want it specific, or is it for the general public who you know collect the teams that play in and around Indianapolis?
Yes to all those questions. I mean, it's truly a yes. I mean, I always preach it to my other card shop owners and everything when I'm trying to just help mentor them. Know your customer. Like, I bought several individual cards for customers that I know 100% with confidence they want this, they need this, you know, they're building a set for this, and like, it's very important to add that layer of a relationship where they know that you're looking out for them, because not everybody can come to the National, right? But in my opinion, I'm going to bring the National back to them as much as I possibly can. It's not going to happen all the time, but I've got those little trigger light bulbs that pop off, and I bought several cards this week, and I can't wait to take them back and show them what I got for them.
Have you been mostly buying cards here at the show at your booth from people coming, or have you actually walked around and looked at other vendors' booths?
Jeremy, I've walked around for about a total of an hour and a half this entire week. That's how busy our booth has been, and I'm not the only one saying that. Like, Ryan Bannister, Sports Card Junction, Mealy Pops, all the ones that we're located close to each other, MC Sports, Louisville Sports, every single one of us has not had any time to walk around this show. It blows me away this week.
I want to ask you, Indianapolis, I think about Peyton Manning. Is Peyton Manning a legend in Indianapolis amongst your customers, your community?
100% yes. He's on the Mount Rushmore right now, for sure.
For sure, huh?
Reggie Miller, Peyton Manning, and then there's a female that's going to be entering that Mount Rushmore very soon.
Right, yeah.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. And how much activity and interest are you seeing in your local card shop for Caitlin Clark?
As much as Peyton Manning.
Really?
I mean, like, it's funny because PSA Magazine, his name's John, did an interview with me on the phone about 2 months ago. He goes, how do you compare the Caitlin Clark height? I said, it's Peyton Manning 2.0.
Wow.
I mean, I was in Indianapolis area in 98 in college, and I moved into actual Indianapolis in 2001, so I know what the hype around Peyton Manning is like. Caitlin Clark is just like that. It is awesome to see the fanship, the collectability, how many people are jumping in the hobby. I had a woman from Memphis drive up to Indianapolis because she's a season ticket holder for the Fever from Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow.
So she goes to 25 games a year and drives from Memphis just to see Caitlin Clark. All that kind of stuff, it's awesome. I love it.
I was having a conversation earlier today with Catherine Harrison from Magpie.
Yeah.
We were sitting downstairs having a conversation, and we were talking about, what sort of trends are we seeing? And we ended up talking about women in the hobby, and I estimate that there's about 0.5% of participants, 1 in 200 people may be female in this hobby.
Yeah.
What do you think Caitlin Clark's, coming onto the scene, all of the excitement around the WNBA, as well as, I don't know if you know this, there's now a professional women's hockey league that has had its first season.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be more, there are U.S. teams,
Right.
but it's hockey, I get it,
That's
cool. Get it, But what do you think, are you seeing more women come through your store, come through this show here? Do you think my 1 in 200 is still accurate, or
No.
what's your gut feel?
And not, no offense, but I think we're already double or triple of what you said. I think we're at in between 1 and 2% overall. In Indiana, I would bet it's a 5% female audience now because of Caitlin Clark. And Indiana, for some reason, is a big soccer community, so the NWSL and Women's World Cup and everything, we have a lot of kids, like girls, that love to collect cards too. So we've actually created women's sports boxes, like bargain boxes. We have a little bit of a higher tier women's box, and then of course we have really nice Caitlin cards as well in our glass display cases. But we moved through them, and we bought 500 of those Caitlin Clark Panini Instant Draft cards, and we've already sold probably almost half of them. It's amazing to me. So we're more than that half of 1%. I really think we're way above that now.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Me too.
I don't mind being wrong on that. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. That is really cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. I'm at your booth. You've got people in there with you. You got your son Quinn.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, you got your boy
So
Quinn.
proud.
Big boy. How old is this kid?
He's 17. He's
17 years old.
offensive lineman. He's a big boy.
He's 2 offensive linemen. Let me tell you, this kid. He's a big. What does it mean to you now to have your son come to this and work in the booth with you,
Yeah.
and just be able to have this experience with family?
Yeah, it's emotional. I mean, it's kind of crazy. As soon as you asked that questions, I felt the emotions welling up at me. It's cool. To see somebody like my kid actually wants to try to emulate his dad. He wants to have fun. He wants to see all the people that he's watched online, because the 17-year-old is on TikTok and Instagram and everything else 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Then he gets to see the real side of it too. And then, to know that he has a passion for it and to see everybody interacting with him, I couldn't be prouder, man. It's awesome.
Another person you're proud of, I think we're going to have him turn around as soon as I say his name, Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
From Card Collector 2.
Ryan Johnson?
I believe that's him right there.
Hi,
That's
Ryan
him right
Johnson.
There. Tell me about.
Hi, Brian.
Tell us a little bit. I know that you have been in this business a long time. A lot of guys that have opened card shops recently have come to you for advice. What's it like to see someone like Ryan Johnson, who you did mentor, really grow through this business, develop the brand that he has,
Yeah.
and we are sitting here, and I'm watching Ryan Johnson take picture with kid after kid after kid. That is very good for the hobby. What are your thoughts on the way the hobby's going in terms of that direction?
I mean, like, it's kind of funny. I mean, I don't know if he can hear this or not, but like, what's funny is like, I get the same emotions looking at him do that as I did with my son coming to my booth with me. You know what I mean? Like, he's such a quality individual that cares so much about this hobby, and to know that he's one of the most influential people in the hobby could not make me prouder. I absolutely love that guy, and I would fall off a cliff for him. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much I admire what he does, how he does it, and engages with everybody around him. Like,
so you meant when he opened up his shop, you were one of the guys that he went to for advice. You mentored him. Has he mentored you at all?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I listen. We talk whenever we get on the phone with each other. It's never a 10-minute conversation, and I glean advice from him too, because I'm not the technology guy, right? But I need to adapt to the times, and we have, because of things that he's done and suggested for us to do as well. So yeah, I mean, like, it's never a one-sided conversation at all. But I was proud to be able to help him get his shop up and running, like help the brick and mortar piece of it really work, and just be able to provide advice. But no, the answer to your question is most definitely have I taken advice from him. He's a smart kid too.
Have you mentored others in the industry that have opened shops in the last couple of years besides him and his Card Collector 2 store?
Yeah, probably around 8 to 10, maybe.
Wow, yeah.
Give or take. I mean, and when I say mentor, and when you ask mentor, like, I want them to know that my phone is right here and I'm always available to answer questions, because the difficult times when you're first starting, you need some wise counsel. And I've been through it. You know, I almost had to shut the shop down in 2014 because of 2014 Topps Chrome football. I've told this in a couple different podcasts, and I learned how to make sure we muddle through those type of situations. So giving that advice to anybody who's going through what's happening right now in the industry, I want to be there for them, right? So,
how do you are you excited about the transition here from Panini to Topps under Fanatics licenses for football and basketball coming soon?
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Fair. That's what you have to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what. There's Brad Beeman. I love that guy too. He's the Shipshawana card show guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, awesome guy. I'm cautiously optimistic, Jeremy. I mean, like, we don't know what to expect. I mean, like, Fanatics is definitely changing the way wax allocations and pricing have been, and you know, we're adapting to those changes, and we really want to see mutual feedback both directions.
Are they soliciting feedback from guys like? You were here at the National, of course. Are there any meetings going on here behind the scenes?
Yes.
With the card manufacturers, are they tapping the shoulder of the veteran LCSs, even the more rookie LCSs, to say, what can we do to better serve you?
Yes, to give them credit, they have. I mean, Ryan Bannister, RBI Crew, one of my best friends in the hobby, got to have a sit-down meeting with them. And I know what he's saying. I'm 100% on board with what he's saying when it comes to advice and suggestions. So they are listening. We're just trying to see some action come out of a lot of those conversations that we have triggered and instigated in the last 6 months. So, I mean, I think time will tell, Jeremy. I mean, I'm like I said, that's why I'm cautiously optimistic.
If the National ended right now, are you satisfied with your business and your experience?
100% yes.
Yeah.
I'm blown away.
100% or 200% or 300%?
Yeah. It's so, again, the numbers we did at the 2021 National, I told my wife when I got home in 21, I said, honey, there's no chance we'll ever do those kind of sales ever again, because I knew the COVID boom was not going to last for a much longer time. Yeah. We're going to beat it this week.
By what percentage?
Probably by about 25%.
Okay.
So it's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? And that was the COVID boom, and cards were double the price that they are now.
Yeah.
I love the prices have come down. We can afford more cards.
Yeah.
We can afford the travel to come here because we have more money from saving money from buying cards.
And I would say I'm unique because I love the fact that I get to meet more people in those transactions as opposed to one massive transaction after another after another.
Right.
The people are what make this hobby and keep this life cycle churning, right? And, you know, how did I meet you?
the people seeing
I gave
each
you a
other,
big bear hug. That's what I did.
bear hug. seeing people at these. I mean, I've been talking about it every time I've been sitting in this studio.
Yeah.
It's seeing the people.
Yeah.
It's these interactions, whether they're 25 minutes sitting here or 30 seconds as you're crossing paths out there in the aisles.
Right.
It's just great. Andy, you got to get back to your booth so you can beat 2021's numbers by 130%.
I know. I just lost 5%.
Thank you for taking the time,
My
buddy.
pleasure, man. I
Always
love you.
appreciate it.
I love you, Jeremy.
All right, guys. 2024 Cleveland National, Andy Albert, Indy Card Exchange. He'll be in Chicago next year, the year after, and the year after that, guys.
That's right.
Thank you, Andy.